What do you think of having a two-in-one, Tubby? It's tall. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Butter What Show. I'm Pat Regan. This is Brian C. Moses. And we're going to talk about my new laptop today, Tubby.
You're excited about it.
I'm excited about this. This laptop... Am I holding this up the right way? This is a cheap two-in-one. This is... Not cheap. We'll come up with a better word. But this guy here, this
economical
Asus VivoBook 14 Flip. It's a big, complicated name. You might have seen this in the new season of The Boys on Amazon. Billy Butcher is using one of these. It's product placement. I bought it first, though, so
I want to say the C word now because he says it a lot.
It's diabolical is the C word that you're allowed to use on YouTube, Tubby. But I didn't expect to buy this laptop, Tubby. I've been wanting a two-in-one, the smallest two-in-one for a long time. This is a big two-in-one. This is 14 inches. Usually 12 is a good size for a two-in-one, and this is a little big. You have a two-in-one, don't you, Tubby?
I do. I have an HP.
What do you? Yours is 13-inch something.
I think mine's Spectre 1310 something or other.
It's big.
You talked me into getting a two-in-one.
What do you think of having a two-in-one, Tubby? It's tall.
It's really tall. I like it. I don't use I don't use it in the tablet form nearly as much as I thought I might. Mine is primarily a laptop for me.
A laptop. It makes sense. I use mine as a tablet almost once a day, at least. I've been waking up sitting in my recliner over here, and I have a way that I sit, and I kind of prop it up and hold it with one hand, kind of like this on the thing, and I just scroll through Hacker News and Twitter, and it's just part of my routine now.
Yeah, I do a lot of stuff on my phone that I don't like, and I always wonder, would I like this better if I had my laptop in tablet mode? But then I never go get it because it's far away.
It's not there. Yeah, mine lives here now, so it's been convenient. And we were talking about assembling the Opulo Lumen PNP pick and place machine. The whole time I had the tablet out. Usually, wonder if you could see that you could do. Just propped it. You open it up a little bit, and you prop it up like a book.
That was
super
fantastic.
handy.
I saw one of your tweets, and it was right. It was right there. You didn't even mention it. I was like, oh, that's an awesome place to put your new two-in-one.
Yep. And sometimes I'd have it sideways like this in there, depending on which way it fit, how much. The machine has a big empty space in the middle, so it was usually in the middle of the machine. Yeah. But that's been handy. I've been using it like this, like a backwards laptop. I don't know what you call this. In the kitchen when I roast coffee, I'll throw a YouTube video on here. And then I could look back at the YouTube video while I'm waiting the 3 minutes for coffee to roast. But even better, Tubby, I've been playing video games on here. And
what video games have you been playing?
I've only been playing one video game. I started out, I was mostly finding, overgrown Android games. Like I played a few levels of. Do you remember Kingdom Rush, the old Android tower defense game?
No, I don't.
You shouldn't. It's not terribly exciting. I played a little bit of that, and it's a more interesting game than I gave it credit for. But it's an overgrown phone game. I'd rather play that on my phone. But I finally I've been wanting to buy it for years, but I've been avoiding it because I thought it'd show up in a Humble Bundle, and it hasn't. Is a game called Into the Breach from the creators of FTL. And FTL is a fantastic game, so I knew this was going to be at least all right. But it's a strategy game. It's turn-based. You just click around, you tap where you want your dudes to go and where you want them to shoot and who you want them to shoot. It's a little bit like it's a complicated game of chess. I don't know if you've tried it yet. But I've learned that it's in this Goldilocks zone of the sort of game you would want to play on a big touchscreen. Like, I know you told me you tried Civilization 6 on your tablet.
Yeah, I want to say I really liked Civ 6. But it wasn't perfect. I'd rather do it on a computer with a keyboard.
Well, it sounded like when you told me, it sounds like you get to a point. The basic beginning of the game is easy, but then when you get to where you really have to work hard to move units around, attack, do stuff, you want your keyboard. right?
Yeah.
It's too complicated. But you also don't want to play Kingdom Rush because you can play that on your phone.
Yeah.
And Into the Breach fits a spot in the middle where it's complicated enough that it would be tough to play on a phone, but simple enough that you don't need a mouse and keyboard. But it's also been a great laptop. I didn't explain this. I said it was a cheap laptop, Tubby, and I said that's the wrong thing for me to say. Like, a cheap laptop would be a Chromebook. But this is an 8-core Ryzen with a decent integrated GPU. It's got 16 gig of RAM, a fast NVMe. It's a good machine, but it's not a $2,000 2-in-1. This is a $600 2-in-1. But from what I gather, it's about 80% of the way there from specs-wise. I can't complain too much.
Sounds like a really good value. And that
I think it was a very good value. I'm pleased with it. If this was my primary machine, I would happily pay the $1,800 for. There's a really fancy Lenovo with a super bright screen with huge specs on the inside. But, I take this to the park and write a blog, right? I'm not compiling things and running VMs and, all that fun stuff.
You might have to hit a coyote with it to defend yourself.
I might. You never know if you're going to see a coyote over at the park.
A wily coyote.
That's over in your town, Tubby. I'm afraid
That's in my
to
neck
ride
of the woods.
in your town. But there's a few disappointing things about this particular model. Like, this one does not charge with USB-C. It charges with a barrel jack, which is kind of a bummer. If it charged with USB-C, it means I would have got a new USB-C charger that I'd be able to use for the next 10 years. But it came with a barrel jack charger that this is the last thing that we'll ever, use
it for.
But I can't complain too much. It was a good value.
Well, it sounds like you've enjoyed it. I mean, if your Twitter profile is any indication, you've gotten a lot of good mileage and new content out of your new 2-in-1.
Well, good. I'm excited. And I'm a little bummed out because I was going to go to the park this week. But I looked at the weather report, and it looks like it is the end of sitting at the park with the laptop weather.
Yeah.
It's well over 90 degrees every day this week, and sunny. And humid. I might give it a try. I might sit in the shade under the pavilion, but I don't think I'm going to last long. I think I'll go over, unpack everything, realize it's too hot.
It's too hot.
Get back on. High 90s is fine when you're on the wheel riding at 20 miles an hour. It's like you're in a breeze the whole time. But then once you stop, it's done. I don't want to do it anymore. Yeah,
and everywhere that you ride is not too far from some water, so it's moist.
Yeah.
And that's even worse.
True.
Maybe should we ask people for suggestions of Into the Breach like games?
Doesn't have to be like Into the Breach, but what other games do you guys think fit in that Goldilocks zone? I got to tell you, there were a lot of games that I've been installing games from my Steam library that seem like they should be simple, but either they don't like the touch input, like you need to double tap every time instead of single clicking, which is no good. And if you have to right click a lot, forget it. That's hold the tap and it's horrible. But there are a lot of games like FTL. There's an iOS port of FTL, but there's no way to pause the game with a touch screen. And it's terrible for touch. It just doesn't work well.
Huh.
But if you already play a game on the touch screen, you should check out my blog with the list of games, and you should tell me which game I'm missing and leave it in the comments here, because I want to play more touch games on a giant touch screen.
Me too.
Should we call that the episode now, Tubby?
I think that's the episode.
I can edit out the part where I said, can we call that an episode?
You can. Or you might not, and that'll be funny. Can we call... No, Pat, we can't call it an episode. We have to do something else. Dang it.